We're going to get to the race horses now. 4 and up. We're going to start with Emerald. Dio didn't race last week. Not the end of the world that he didn't race last week. You know, he did flip his heart. He AFibbed. We know what had happened with the Lasix back Friday, Tuesday, or Friday, even Monday. I forget what it was. His qualifier was good. We have trained him up since. He's back in to go Tuesday. Is he going to be razor sharp and super tight? No, but I think he'll be good. And he's in a good spot for, I think it's Tuesday, right? Tuesday or Wednesday. Arson, you know, 2 and 3 year old company and then aged company are two different things. What you might have witnessed the other day is one of the best miles he's ever gone. I know he paced 49, whatever, 50, and you know, beat good 3-year-olds, but beating 3-year-olds and beating aged horses in an open at any decent track is quite a different thing. And Arson, you know, those first 2 starts, he didn't look razor sharp. The weather in Canada was horrible. They couldn't keep him tight. Canceled the first week, so now you're off. They canceled training in between. He had to race in the open at Mohawk, the deepest end of the ocean in racing for the most part, week in and week out. He did not look competitive his first start, understandably. Second start, he was closing in on them. And I just thought that racing him in the backup class of the Meadows made more sense than being relegated to the open again at Mohawk. And the reason, what I mean by that is, in Mohawk, they go by last 5 starts. So how much money made last 5? He still had a big hunk of money on that 5th line from Kentucky, whereas the Meadows goes by last 4 starts. So we were able to actually, for all intents and purposes, kind of cheat a little bit of a start. They didn't use that 5th line. So he actually fit lower, but had to race in the backup class, what ended up being the open last week. And he was narrowly defeated to a length in 51. And I told you guys, he was 2 weeks from winning the open. I was wrong. It would happen the next week. He was a winner yesterday and looked very, very good in doing it. Drebin, what can you say about Drebin? He's been good for a very long time. He's been going and going and going and just continues to look good. One of his better miles of his life was last week, finishing 3rd to those 2 open trotters. 5-horse field. He's 3rd best again. He's likely going to be 3rd again if everything works out well. Now, knowing James, is he going to leave out of there? No. James is likely going to dump 5th, sit, and try and beat those 2 horses. I'd love to see him leave and mix it up. But knowing my brother, he'll probably take the more conservative route. Memory and Imagination was great yesterday. Again, nice to see him starting to come around. You're asking him to race against open trotters. Open trotters. These are the toughest group of horses he's raced in since he raced in, he raced against Carl as a 2-year-old. But this is open company. These are aged horses. And he hasn't been asked to race up in here yet. He hadn't really earned his way in there. He was a filler on Friday. Finished 6th. Even Aaron said after the race, had he stayed left and along the rail, he would have been 5th. I think he's right. But he gave the horse a shot. The cover just evaporated, and he had to move 3 deep early. The 5 that beat him were 5 legit open trotters, and that's nothing to sneeze at. Obviously, this horse is starting to come around. Really, really impressed with what I saw from Memory and Imagination yesterday. Mounds for All could not have been better. 55, I'm pretty sure that's a new lifetime mark. The horse was very good on Thursday in winning again at the Meadows. Tenacious Hanover, 9-hole again. Not quite as good trailing, but he did race good the other day. He is going to be tighter. I haven't really taken a close look at the competition, but I'd like it to be a little softer than it was, and not softer, I guess, just a different type of trip. The horse that won it was a runaway winner. Everybody was kind of jammed up behind him. I had to kind of knife my way through. If we get a solid competitive group of horses and I get a good trip, he has a good shot at them. Time is on my side. Yes, Arson beat him, but Arson had been a little tighter, right? Time had raced in 2 weeks before that. It was 2 weeks before that. So he wasn't razor sharp and tight as he can be. Plus, this was his last start before we give him a little break. So, and did Tim have him right on his toes and in the bike and trained up tight? Of course not. Why would he? We have a long year ahead of us with Time is on my side. He brought him in probably the way he did the time before when he was a winner in 51-1. It was just a little different trip and a little different competition. He was left alone. That was fair. Buckeye Bollinger took a real run at him, kind of flattened his tires a little bit in the last turn. We come out of the turn and we had 3 fresh puppies waiting for us, and the freshest of all was our boy Arson. And that's what makes Arson so good, right? Leave, sit, follow, attack. Not all the time he can do that. Time Is On My Side can't leave like that, right? I know there's a couple of times when he's really good and he's really on his toes, he can just scream off the car. But more times than not, Time's more of a grinder, a hunter, and which he's a good horse. And I told you guys, the difference between those horses is ever so thin. And a trip like that turns the table sometimes. And Arson was great yesterday. Time Is On My Side has been a tremendous horse for us and has had a great year, and hopefully has an even better rest of the year in front of him. 3 weeks off, 3 weeks back, have him ready to go, prep him hopefully at Mohawk or the Meadows if we have to, and then he's got the Juravinsky and the Graduate. So big fish to fry coming forward for Time Is On My Side. All right, what do we got here? That was Time. Vehement missed a week. Only 1 week. That's pretty good for him. He's in to go Wednesday with the 2-hole at the Meadows. Save America will be back in a couple of weeks. Jason said he's going to have him in the bike and go a good mile next weekend. I suspect we'll either just put him in to go or qualify him after that. We'll see. Spitfire Overseas. Next week off, we had some vet work done on him. Hind ankles. I believe they did some work on his back also. Makes total sense. Everything they had said that was bothering him absolutely painted the picture of how he raced the other day. So now we know where some flashpoints are on him. He'll be back in to go next week. Not next week, the week after. Texan Soprano was good again. Continues to race really, really good for us in New York. Really like this horse. Pretty hard not to. Greatest Ending. He's at Northfield right now. He's not going to race this week. The next week coming, I'm tempted. Might race this horse at the Meadows. Or, well, maybe at the Meadows. But might race this horse at the Poconos. There is some validity to the conversation I had with somebody last week that had emailed me and said, hey, the surface is better. Yes, the competition's a little softer. That also may be accurate. I am concerned about the shipping of the horse. I don't like shipping him around. He ties up very, very easily. So we'll see. And the idea, I had a couple of people say to me, yeah, can we put his hobbles on? I don't know what the issue is with his hobbles at all. If you think that he's going to be a better horse with his hobbles on, he's not going to stay as sound with his hobbles on, I guarantee you that. Hits the ground very, very hard. His left front leg bothers him a little bit, and he is not going to stay as sound with them on. I don't think he's a better horse at all with them on. Horse winning 52 at Northfield Park, free-legged. So I know everybody thinks it's just some magical way that we're going to do something with Greatest Ending, and all of a sudden he's going to become the horse we always wanted him to be. That's not going to happen. He is what he is. He's a middle-of-the-road condition horse right now. You could see him jump forward a little bit and be an open pacer, but the consistency is a problem, and that is directly derived from his feet bothering him and tying up. And those two, in fact, are probably tied together also. So that's the biggest problem with Greatest Ending. Will he go to the Poconos? Possibly. I suppose so. That's something we can look into and talk about. But as far as the idea he will get his hobbles off and he'll become some sort of magically just become better, it's just not the way it works. It's not going to happen. Not for a bit. JK Victory has been better, but it's been a while since he's been that good. 50 flat, fastest mile of the season at the Meadows, and looked good and commanding doing it. Much like some of the other horses we talked about, not the handiest horse. He can get off the car good. You got to work to get there. But on the front is where he does his best work. And even following only one horse, he's not quite as good. When that horse made a break and got out of the way, it was like somebody just opened up, JK Victory. He was a totally different horse like that. Following, he was kind of lethargic and kind of gapping a bit, and I was chasing him to keep up. As soon as that horse got out of the way, full speed ahead. It was the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing and very, very hard to explain. But JK Victory was excellent yesterday at the Meadows. That is not hard to explain. Looks Like Money was excellent also. This horse has been commanding at the Meadows. I think 4 in a row wins in the Open. I don't know that he's missed the board all year long. The horse has just been tremendous and continues to be great. I was shocked they filled the Open Trot this week. I'd be floored if they did it next week. At some point, you're going to see him take a trip down to Miami Valley, I would imagine. And if he took it soon, that wouldn't bother me. He is razor sharp right now. I mean razor sharp. He was excellent yesterday at the Meadows. Neptune, get that foot healed up. We'll get him back in to go. He had a quarter crack that busted out the other day at Mohawk. Rock Shining Star will train hard next week. He'll be in to qualify, I believe, the week after that. 3 Point Blue Chip got a week off. He was also eligible. hit his leg, his left hind leg, and it blew up a little bit last week. So the week off's not going to help, or not going to hurt him at all. And Tim and his crew are going to have to work to get that cleaned up. Just a bruise right on the cannon bone. It's annoying and it's painful. So it's something they have to work on. Trosa has been great. I wanted to look again. I was shocked that James picked off of him tonight the way he's racing. Must have a real good horse in there. Trosa's been good. Jody Jameson's going to drive him tonight. I'm eager to see how he races. Yo Mister was very, very good 3 weeks ago. Drew the outside. When I made a break last week, I looked quick to see where he was. He had circled up around and was closing in, a fifth in closing. He is sharp right now. His horse draws inside this week. He could do some damage at Miami Valley for sure. Delicious Stone DK. We got him racing. You know, that quarter crack that has been pesky for the last month was bothering him a bit. I was wondering why he looked a little rickety on the end of the mile last night. I was hoping he didn't hurt himself. He did not. It was just that old quarter crack bugging him. And then Patrick the Piranha made his way to the Open. They'll race tomorrow night in the Open pace at Northfield. I'd love nothing better than to see him do good. You know, we're always on the lookout for an open horse for Northfield. We just haven't consistently got one. And maybe we had one all along. I don't know. Anyway, that's your aged horse video. I'll be right back with to talk about the 3-year-olds and the 2-year-olds. Really, really happy with the way things are going here at the stable. I hope you are too. I'll be back in a minute, as I said, with the 3-year-olds. Take care.